We're all on our own journey, man. But like you said, and people don't change when you say, hey, you got to change this. Am I right? Normally it has the opposite effect. So I look at these conversations that we're having here on Connection is Magic, conversations that you're having on the Man Enough podcast as like little seeds in people's mental garden that will one day sprout something.
I mean, that's the goal, right? We just want to plant seeds everywhere.
That's it.
And, and we want to water them. They won't just grow and keep them in the sunshine,
There you go.
Even though I believe that we got to go through the work, I also believe you got to stay in the spirit of joy, right? Because joy is what allows true growth anyways.
For sure.
Being in the shade is a place we have to be sometimes, in the dark. But if you look in the shaded areas of your grass and, flower garden versus the area that's sun, you'll see the sun is growing in abundance, right? And the plants and trees that are engaged in getting the love of the sun, that's when things grow, when you're in the light.
What does being in the light look like?
That means you do the work. When you're suffering through stuff, you got to go through it, and there's that space. But the people who are willing at some point to say, okay, I'm now going to go do something joyful. I'm going to go and smile at someone. I'm going to go be of service to somebody else. I'm going to go and treat myself to something that feels good.
Yeah.
That's when true healing, I think, starts to happen. We do the reflection in the dark. Of course you get in the sunshine too, but that's what happens oftentimes. You're crying and you're in your dark spots and poor me and whatever you need to go through. But when the healing and the growth starts happening is when you put yourself in the light, you start seeing yourself as powerful, appropriately powerful.
Thanks for the disclaimer.
And you see your nobility and your potential. And that happens oftentimes. I remember doing this, I had these conversations with some psychologists regarding healing and growth.
Okay.
And one of the things that came up was looking at people who lose children, like parents who lose children. And you look at two people, you look at one person who loses their child, and they are still suffering 3 years later in a dark place. And God bless them, they have every right to. You have another person who 3 months later is out in the world. Now, does this person love their child less than this one? No, of course they don't. They both love their children equally. Why was this person able to re-engage and re-emerge and this person hasn't? No judgment. You take as long as time that you need to go through it. But what you start seeing is the person who was forced, that maybe had another child that was forced to experience joy with the other child, take them to the park, had to fake it, had to work for whatever reason, had to play in the sun, even if whether they wanted to or not. The abundance of the sun had an effect on their spirit, and they're able to recover at a faster rate than those that stay in the dark, even though there's no judgment about staying in the dark. What you learn through that is that we recover better as a species, as a people, as individuals, when we are engaged in things that bring your heart joy.
100%. People could judge the one
that seems to be fine.
And I interviewed a guy who lost his son in a highway accident.
God bless
him. And amazing human being. He turned it into a mission to go speak to other parents, and he got the wheels going back towards the light, and his wife, he shared about it in the episode, was judging him for it. Like, it seems like you don't even love our son, So it can happen between
the couple. And those are real feelings, of course. And I don't even want to judge those feelings that for that wife or for that person who is seeing someone recover at a different rate. It completely makes sense. They're still where they are at, and they can't compute something else. I get all that. But, you see this in all walks. You look at prisons, you have every right to be depressed in the prison. You're locked up for something. Yeah. You're in there for 10 years and you're in a cell. But ones that are flourishing and finding and are aging at a different rate, still have some life in them, are the ones who are engaged in some activity of joy, right? Some sports thing. They're helping other people. They are not feeling despondent in there, because that facilitates healing, being in that.
Let's just talk about us right now.
Yes, sir.
We've been through some dark shit in our lives. We've been through some dark places, and active addiction is no joke. Burning bridges is no joke. Burning bridges with ourselves, because burning bridges with other people is one thing. Burning a bridge with yourself and with God, man. And so we come out of that, and it's not an ego thing, but it's a gratitude thing. I mean, I was able to slow myself down today. And that's just such a special thing, I think, in this culture that's moving ever so fast, right? When you could just, even if it's 3 minutes, and just be totally present and say, you know, thank you, God. Thank you to yourself for not giving up. I mean, that's a real thing. Thank you to yourself for not giving up. You could have stayed on the floor under your bed. You slept under a bed, you said, because you didn't deserve to be on a bed.
Well, I didn't feel like
or what did you say?
Yeah. I couldn't find a lower spot. I needed to be as lowly as I could, and like, you know. And
now you're here. I mean, there's a lot of people to thank, but
a lot of
thank
people.
God you didn't give up is what I'm saying. Thank yourself for not
giving up.
You know
what that is
up,
a testament
you
to,
know?
man? You know, my belief is God continues to give us opportunities to redeem ourselves, to prove ourselves, to not just to God, but to ourselves.
Yes.
To humanity. No matter what, no matter how much you screw